Hi, I'm Mike.
I'm Rajo.
This is Watch Us Instead, a special two-for edition because it's September 2nd, and what we normally do is we go watch the worst movie to come out in a weekend, and we take that upon ourselves, much like a religious figure in history who martyred himself. We suffer through the terrible movies for you and then tell you what to watch instead. Something better, something that's cheaper that you can watch on DVD or Netflix, watch at home, that's doing the same kind of thing, but better. And the reason we're having a twofer with both Mike and Rajo is that there are two movies that came out today, and I don't know which one's worse. It's hard to say. I didn't see what you saw, although I'm kind of surprised that it could be bad.
Please, you're not that surprised. I saw Apollo 18, which is a film that it's about astronauts going on the supposed real last manned mission to the moon.
Right, the last actual one was, or apparently, for all we know, was Apollo 17. This is the one after, hence Apollo 18.
In the film, you find out that it was like a top secret mission. These astronauts were sent there to set up some kind of surveillance equipment to spy on the Russians because it was in the middle of the Cold War. Something crazy happens while they're there and they all die. And then somebody, some suspiciously anonymous person, uploads all the footage to lunartruth.com.
This is actually a pretty good-looking movie. Like, it feels like they got the period thing right, and they got the costumes right and everything, so...
They nailed that stuff. The guys look exactly like, astronauts circa 1972. They have cool astronaut costumes. They obviously shot in some cool desert. Yeah, they have nice hair. Really cool sound design. Like, every sort of bit of dialogue sounds like it, is filtered through that NASA astronaut echoey, I don't know, it's really, really cool sort of on the surface, but at its heart, this is a found footage horror film that takes place in outer space. And like every other found footage movie, like the number one issue that you kind of have to get over when you're making these movies is how did they get all this footage? Blair Witch Project, a bunch of film students making a movie in the woods. Okay. Paranormal Activity. Okay. In the second one, they get robbed, so they set up security system. In this one, 84 hours of synced up 16 millimeter film with sound is uploaded to some website, and somebody put all the footage together into this film. There's scenes where there's one person in the capsule and there's a camera constantly on them, and you're like, even if it's just floating there, like why would it be on like when they're asleep? And then on top of that, it's a found footage horror movie set in outer space, and you're like, okay, I want to see some ghosts and demons. Like they're going to the moon where no one has been for like a year or whatever. Like maybe there's like some dead astronaut or whatever that's haunting the moon. No, like the thing that freaks them out and makes everything go wrong is kind of dumb. I was bored. I was bored of the things that happened in this movie.
So what should people watch instead?
Well, the last really scary sci-fi movie that I saw that takes place in outer space and that has like supernatural elements was Event Horizon. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember sitting in that theater and actually being freaked out. So
it's scary as hell.
Yeah. While I was seeing Apollo 18, you were in the theater next door watching
Shark Night 3D.
Shark Night 3D. What an awkward title.
And it's an awkward movie. It's directed by the guy that made Snakes on a Plane. He wanted to call it Untitled Shark Movie in 3D, which would have been the funniest thing about it, and maybe given the gloss of this movie, put a layer of kind of ironic detachment, the way that he had that ironic detachment going on when he made Snakes on a Plane, which kind of actually made Snakes on a Plane enjoyable. Really what made that movie enjoyable was Samuel L. Jackson's performance, and Samuel L. Jackson's not in this film. This film is also not ironic in any way. It's a straight-up crappy horror film that for two-thirds of it is just hilariously bad. And then there's a twist where it tries to become a meta commentary on shark movies. And it moves from being horrible into being insulting. It's one of these movies that is like, it condemns you for wanting to see shark violence while showing you shark violence.
How many people walked out of the screening just, infuriated?
There was there's a bunch of laughs, and nobody walked out. Mostly because it's playing in the AVX theater, so screenings are like $18. So it was like, it's not like a $4 movie where you can be like, I quit, screw you, Spawn the movie. And it's $18. Like that's a.
You got to stick it out.
Yeah, even though you would probably be better at cutting off your tongue with a knife.
So what should people watch instead of that this weekend?
Well, the big thing that gets messed up in this film that is in a lot of horror films is it's based on the tension between urban, rich, educated, and poor, rural, not educated. Like that tension is at the heart of a lot of horror movies and a lot of thriller movies. All of these movies where you go and you see the creepy locals giving you the eye, and then or you're out in the middle of nowhere at your country home, and Straw Dogs is a perfect example. And it's based on that, except it gets that basic kind of conflict so hilariously wrong that the rest of the movie, which is dumb anyways, again, just vaults over bad into insulting territory. So I recommend the movie that's got the best ever weird local at a gas station when you're heading up to the cabin, which
I think I know where you're going with.
yeah, Eli Roth's Cabin Fever. It's such a cliche now that you can't, even being ironic about it is a cliche, so you just have to make it weird for it to work. You just have to make it kind of creative, which is what happens in Eli Roth's movie, and it's the last really good, non-ironic, kind of legitimate-seeming city people lost in the woods having bad run-ins with the locals, and bad, crazy stuff happens movie. So see that instead.
Or you can enjoy the last weekend of the summer.
Yeah, you know what? Just don't watch a movie. It's been a horrible summer for movies. Just terrible.
I feel like we say that every summer.
It's been a bad couple of years for movies.
See you next week for TIFF.
We got crazy stuff coming for TIFF, including a new cast member on Substream.com.